So as you can see, we're doing some body work and paint to the S10 here. We're going to continue that. So I got to get the door out the way to continue the body work and paint. And while we're doing that, might as well replace the hardware for the hinges. So I'm going to show you how you take the door off and replace the hardware. My methods I came up with after watching other videos. Figured I'd just make my own for fun. So when the inner door panel was still on, there's a 7mm bolt here and here underneath the pull handle. Phillips head right here to get the piece of trim for the handle here, for the latch, I mean. When you pull that piece of trim out, pay attention, it locks into here. So you want to pull this handle out and slide the trim this way so you don't break the end of it. So for the window crank handle, there is a C-clip right here, similar to a transmission line fitting, but just bigger. You'll kind of pry your handle out a little bit in between the inner door panel and the handle, make a little bit of room, and slide your pick in there and pop that clip out. It's pretty easy. What else? Yeah, from that point, you've got your bolts out, your piece of trim out, your handle off. You can just take the handle here and pop it, and it'll get the plastic rivets that are in the door panel itself. They'll pull free from the door. And you just kind of lift up because you got a piece of trim here on the window. And that's it for getting the door panel off. Then you'll want to disconnect your speaker. There's a clip on the side here and here. You can get 2 flathead screwdrivers and pry them in. It'll come off nice and easy. Then I undid my speaker and clipped it here. So now I got my speaker out the way so I won't damage that during removal. Then it's just the 2 pins that are retaining the door. You'll want to hit them from the top down, and you'll want to remove this clip that does absolutely nothing. And the bottom's from the bottom up. So you'll take the clip off right here, and you'll hit that up. And I like to use a pick like this. Gives you lots of room. And I'll probably tape up some of this area here so that when I go to hit, I don't accidentally scratch anything. And there's a fancy dancy tool to hold your door while you do this if you're a solo dolo, but probably just got to call the homeboy up, help you hold it. It's probably easier if you do the bottom first, since you got to hit upwards. And then you have the top one kind of holding it for you. Whereas if you do the top, might be kind of putting a lot of pressure on there while you're also laying on the ground trying to hit up. So I recommend hitting from the bottom up, and you see I got just enough room to swing this thing. I might even just get a smaller block of metal. You can also try ball joint press removers and things like that. I'll end up using that later on to actually get the bushings in, because I'm going to replace the bushings as well as the roller pin here, because I'm sure that's shot and that's why the spring is missing. You actually probably should remove the spring first with a spring tool if yours is still in there, so that way when you go hitting on all this, it doesn't come flying out and when you pull the door. So yeah, use a spring compressor tool. I'm sure there's videos. You just literally slip it on and tighten one bolt. It's pretty easy to use. I'll be using the spring compressor tool to get the new spring back in there once all the hardware is repaired. So yeah. All right, got the door off. Now we're gonna press the bushings out. See, I'm doing some prep work for paint. But what we got here is a impact socket that's big enough to slip over the bushing. You can see it's already coming out. I started doing this already, but it'll be the same for over here. So that's going to be your receiving cup. And we just got a bolt here with a washer. Press on the back side. And this is a valve cover bolt. And I got this because it's the perfect size to press on that and then be able to push it out all the way as you tighten it. So I'll show you how I do it. There you have it. We got our completed door here collecting dust, and we're ready to reinstall it. So let's get the hardware back in. You just need the 2 bushings, 1 of each size, big and small. So if we're looking at this door right side up, the top hinge does not get any hardware. The pin will just pass through. And the bottom hinge, will get bushings. So there's 2 sizes. See how this one has way too much room, so this is the smaller one, and it will go in the bottom. And the larger one will go in the top if you're looking at the door right side up. And I will show you how I just use a bolt and some washers and press these back in. There's our bushing. And we've got a washer and a bolt running through. Our socket as a receiving cup, another washer, and a nut, and 2 13s, and I've got a ratcheting combo one here. I'll make it a little easier. Let's see if I can get you in on the action. I did put a little bit of grease to help press this in because it was sitting right there. Not really necessary, but actually it does make it easier. I would recommend a little bit of grease. I also put masking tape right there to protect the paint where the cup / socket is pressing on. You just go till that bottoms out. It's not so for the hardware, that's for the hinges that's on the truck itself. There's just 2 bushings and a roller pin in the top hinge. They're pressed out the same as the door. I used the valve cover bolt to press them out, and then just a normal bolt and washer to press them back in using the socket as well. Same as the door, same bushings even. Smaller one goes in the top, from the top, and the bottom is the bigger one coming in from the bottom. And then, the roller pin here. To get the old one out, I just ground the top off with a little belt sander. You can smack it down and out. If it's fighting you, use a Sawzall and cut it right here, right above the shoulder. you'll avoid hitting that part of the hinge to make a clean, easy cut. And that helps you just smack it out too. To get the new one in, if you got an assembled pin like this, I use a socket on the bottom there, and that will allow you to smack it in without hitting this pin here that retains the roller, messing it all up so that it no longer spins. If your pin is not assembled like mine is, you should be good to just hit it in from right down here on the bottom. So yeah, pretty easy installing the roller pin. It probably would have been better to have separated the roller off of it, or bought it, separated. But I'm using this extension. I'm just putting it on there like that and hitting it. Put a tiny bit of grease on there. Could have cleaned the paint up and the holes. It would probably go in easier, but it's fine. More rust protection. All right, let's see if I can get you guys in on the action. Getting there. Come on, you son of a gun. Shoot, how we doing? It's getting close. Roller pins in. Got our clip. And we got our bushings pressed in. Just need to touch up the paint a little bit, and we're ready to mate the door on. Just remember, when you go to do the door, the top hinge on the door will be on the outside, and then the bottom will be on the inside. On the door, you want to make sure the arm for the spring is tucked in so that it's not like past the roller. And yeah, I'll probably get a jack and a piece of wood, something to support the door up, and grab one of the kids, have them hold it up. Just remember, when you put your pins in, after you get your door lined up, like I said, top hinge on the outside, bottom pin comes in from the bottom, and we'll pin it all together. And the bottom hinge, the pin comes from the top. And yeah, let's get it back together. All right, we got our pins back in. Lower one went in, super smooth. Top one required some banging. I use this and just press this on the bottom, beat it up in. I had a buddy hold the door for me while I got the first pin in and second one loosely in. And that's all I had to do was jack it up and get it level and beat the second pin in. Out of breath though. Whew, it took a couple swings, but she is back on. So doing some reassembly here. Got our harness for the speaker ran through. The smaller part of the boot goes to the truck, and the bigger plugs into the door. cleaned it up pretty good too. And it ran down there. I re-zipped it because I kind of broke the original one. I put some masking tape up in there around the wire just to reinforce it. When I go to plug it in, I'm just gonna make sure it doesn't get pinched by where the glass would be, and it's gonna go over to the right, so it'll be perfect. So I'll screw the speaker in, and then I'll test the speaker, make sure it works. Got this door panel started. What you gotta do is make sure the gasket up top is lipped over the inner door skin first. You kind of gotta like wedge it between here and here with a little bit of force. Just get it in position. Then it'll kind of drop down. So that's the first thing you can do. And then you can start pushing in all of your plastic rivets that line the door. And all that requires is usually just a little bit of wiggle and a pop. I like to start up top with this first one. Here, you just put that in place. And then you gotta lay down on your back kind of and do the bottom ones. You get these two bolts. Requires a 7mm. Underneath the door handle, right there. Right there. Forgot the foam piece was supposed to go on before the door panel, but I just pinched it and shoved it through, so no problem there. Before you get the clip inserted, like I got it, put this handle on and roll your window up. That way, when we actually go to put this on, we can clock this how we want it, so that when the window's shut, the handle is ideally like that, so it doesn't hit your knee. So how these clips work, they're just like transmission lines kind of, where you can have the clip actually inserted and then you'll pop past. See how that's got a chamfer to it. So we'll just point this how we want and we'll push and it'll pop past the clips and lock it in. Put that little plastic piece of trim on there. We'll get this in the 1 o'clock position, kind of like that door, and we'll just, after, you know, fuck with it a little bit. Come on, man. It's kind of hard to, I need a hand. You see what I'm doing? Here, we can actually put this piece of plastic, hold it on there like that. Yep. Nope. Oh, the clip's not in all the way. Let's try that again. Clips in all the way. Okay. There she blows. Perfect. Keep mind when you're buying your hardware that you get good pins and bushings and springs, because I've heard of people having to replace stuff. I just bought questionable Amazon stuff, so we'll see how long it lasts. But what I noticed on the other side is I have the new spring on the bottom here, and when I put it in the door, the spring felt really light, like it wasn't really holding the door open much, especially if you were parked on the hill. So I'm going to take it out and put the factory springs in, because they're way stiffer. Like this one, I can kind of actually compress it a little bit with my hand. This one, not even close. They're a little different in height. But the diameter of the spring is definitely 10th out big or so. Makes a difference. I'm actually painting some of my hardware, but I'm going to be putting the OEM springs back in. I'll have to take the other one out, but I'll show you once that dries. And I put some clear coat on it. How to use the spring tool. Well, the last part was supposed to be easy. Getting the spring in. As you can see, I don't have the OEM springs in. I put the weaker one in that doesn't really hold the door open that well. Also, I had to get the boot out of the way again, but it really wasn't a problem. Issue with the OEM springs is, typically you kind of fork the spring, somewhere along there, and then compress it. And this thing, even when I had it spread out as much as I could, would not compress it enough to get it in whatsoever. Then I tried putting the entire spring in and doing that, and basically it was like a time bomb. I felt like I was in the Hurt Locker, and was bending the tool. So you can see I customized it to add some more strength, and fucking that wasn't even enough. So I don't know, you need a good spring tool if you're gonna be putting these back in. There's other videos you can watch, but it's pretty straightforward. You do that, and then you tighten it. You get it all the way in. Whatever you do, it's at your own risk. I'm not responsible. And I have launched this across the room a couple times, so keep that in mind. I even took the shoulder bolt out and put my own bolt, longer bolt and nut and washers, and I just could not get this in. Yeah, maybe one day I'll get a real tool and remove those and put these back in. So I'm gonna save them, but for now, this is gonna have to do. Take some white lithium grease and get all the bushings and the roller, and yeah, should be good. Oh yeah, one last thing. You can see where the door latch is riding real bad when it's coming in. It's hitting the top of this right here, and you can actually see it's actually rolled over a little bit. It's hitting that. So what I'm going to do is I got myself a T40, and I loosened these up, and I'm gonna push up and tighten it. So let me do that. Hold all these spacers in line. Looks like these are actually shims that they did at the factory. They shimmed this. Maybe they can add or subtract them. Looks like they've added 2 shims to mine. So I'm holding it up Trying not to drop the socket on my fresh paint. All right. Well, now let's see. Oh my God, that's way better. Nice. She's looking pretty good. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Heck yeah. And we got some upgrades for her. Well, hopefully this helps you on getting your door on and off. Good luck out there. And I'm not responsible for anything.